person. I want to be the best teammate. It's really, really hard. And I don't even know why I'm crying.
The Aces are in really big trouble.
The WNBA landscape is undergoing a significant transformation, with the rise of Caitlin Clark at the center of it all. Clark, a generational talent, has been reshaping the league in ways that were previously unimaginable. While many initially doubted her ability to make a major impact, her rise has proven those critics wrong. The Indiana Fever, a team that had long struggled to attract top-tier talent, is now being completely revitalized thanks to Clark's presence. In contrast, the Las Vegas Aces, once the dominant team in the league, are now facing internal turmoil, losing key players and struggling under the weight of poor management and leadership. A'ja Wilson, who has long been considered the face of the Aces, is now finding herself at the center of controversy. Wilson, a three-time MVP, has been criticized for focusing more on playing the victim than leading her team to victory. Her leadership has come into question as the Aces have fallen apart, with players like Kelsey Plum and Sydney Carlson choosing to leave Las Vegas in favor of joining the rising star in Indiana. This mass exodus from the Aces is a clear indication that something is deeply wrong within the team, and that Clark's influence is reshaping the league in a way that no one could have predicted. Caitlin Clark's arrival in the WNBA has done more than just elevate the Indiana Fever. It has sent shockwaves through the league, proving that players are willing to leave established franchises like the Aces to join her. Clark's star power has attracted top-tier talent to Indiana, and her leadership has transformed the Fever from an afterthought into a legitimate championship contender. Players want to be a part of what Clark is building in Indiana, and that includes veteran players like Sydney Carlson and Kelsey Plum, both of whom were once key members of the Aces. Carlson's decision to leave the Aces and sign with the Fever was particularly telling. While she had the option to stay with Las Vegas, she chose to join Clark's team instead. This wasn't just any free agency move, it was a statement. Carlson, a two-time WNBA champion, is a player who knows what it takes to win, and she clearly sees something special in Clark and the Fever organization. Even more surprising is the fact that Carlson's agent had previously made negative comments about Clark on social media, yet Carlson still chose to join her. This speaks volumes about Clark's leadership and the respect she commands from her peers. Kelsey Plum's departure from the Aces was another significant blow to the team. Once considered the heart of the Aces' backcourt, Plum is now with the Los Angeles Sparks, further weakening Wilson's supporting cast. The departure of Carlson and Plum exposes the cracks in the Aces organization, revealing that the once dominant team is now struggling to keep its core intact. Meanwhile, Clark is building something special in Indiana, surrounding herself with experienced veterans and elite talent. The Fever's aggressive moves in free agency show that their front office recognizes the once-in-a-lifetime opportunity they have with Clark, and they are doing everything in their power to capitalize on it. The Aces front office, once praised for building a powerhouse team, is now scrambling to keep the team afloat. Their financial situation is one of the worst in the league, and their roster is slowly crumbling under the weight of poor management decisions. While the Fever are adding proven winners like Natasha Howard and Bonner, the Aces are left trying to patch up the holes in their roster with desperate signings. Howard's decision to join the Fever further strengthens their core, and her excitement to play alongside Clark is a clear indication that the Fever are building something special. As the Aces fall apart, the Fever continue to rise. The addition of players like Natasha Howard, Sydney Carlson, and Kelsey Mitchell has solidified the Fever as a legitimate championship contender. Players like Howard, who has won multiple championships throughout her career, are thrilled to be joining a team with Clark at the helm. Howard has spoken highly of Clark's ability to elevate her teammates, and her presence on the court will only make the Fever stronger. The Fever have built a super team that looks poised to make a deep run in the playoffs and potentially win a championship in the near future. Meanwhile, the Aces are struggling to stay relevant. The mass exodus of talent and the crumbling of their roster have left them in a precarious position. Asia Wilson, once seen as the face of the WNBA, is now facing backlash for her toxic leadership and inability to keep her team together. Wilson's attitude and focus on victimhood have alienated players and created a toxic environment in Las Vegas. Instead of embracing the competition and the new wave of attention brought to the league by Caitlin Clark, Wilson and her supporters have chosen to attack Clark and her supporters, fueling a divisive narrative that is only further damaging the league. Caitlin Clark's rise to prominence has been nothing short of remarkable. She has done in a few short months what many thought would take years. Her influence on the WNBA has been undeniable, with the league seeing record-breaking viewership and attendance numbers. The Indiana Fever's success in free agency is a direct result of Clark's leadership and star power, and it is clear that players want to be a part of what she is building in Indiana. The Aces, on the other hand, are stuck in a downward spiral, unable to keep their roster intact and struggling under the weight of poor management and leadership. One of the most striking aspects of Clark's rise has been the support she has received from a wide range of fans. While some have claimed that her popularity is due to her race, the reality is that Clark has become a symbol of success and leadership, drawing fans from all backgrounds. Her ability to elevate her teammates and build a winning culture has earned her the respect of players and fans alike. In contrast, Asia Wilson's focus on race and victimhood has only alienated her from the rest of the league. Wilson's inability to embrace competition and her continued attacks on Clark and her supporters have only served to highlight her flaws as a leader. The WNBA has created a storyline that pits Clark, a white player, against Wilson, a black player, and it is clear that this conflict is playing out in the media. While some fans have embraced this narrative, the reality is that the league would be better off focusing on the incredible talent both players bring to the table rather than fueling a divisive rivalry. The numbers don't lie. Caitlin Clark is having an undeniable impact on the WNBA, and players are flocking to her side in search of success. Meanwhile, Asia Wilson is struggling to hold on to the dynasty she once led, as the Aces continue to fall apart. Caitlin Clark's success in the WNBA is not just about basketball. It is about leadership, influence, and the ability to elevate those around her. She has built a team in Indiana that looks poised to make a deep run in the playoffs and potentially win a championship in the near future. Asia Wilson, on the other hand, has failed to create a winning culture in Las Vegas, and her leadership has been called into question by both players and fans alike. As the Aces continue to crumble and the Fever rise to prominence, it is becoming increasingly clear that Caitlin Clark is the true leader of this new era in the WNBA. The shift in power is undeniable, and it is only a matter of time before Clark's influence leads her to the top of the league.